Did you know that yesterday, June 30th, was actually National Camera Day? It was, and in celebration of that wacky holiday, Debbie Dubois, that's me, welcome to my channel by the way, decided that I was going to get out all my camera stuff and I was going to find a different way to present my readings to my audience. That would be you. And the reason why I wanted to do that is, just showing hands, that can be so boring. All right, and I wanted also to just increase your experience so that you can really see the cards that I'm looking at in detail, and just, make it a little bit more fun. So that's what I did on National Camera Day. And it was completely a challenge. I felt like, in the movie with Trinity, what's it called? Oh my gosh, the Matrix. Yes, thank you. So anyways, she plugs in and she learns the helicopter. She learns how to use a helicopter. Well, that's what I felt like yesterday in multi-camera stuff. So let's go ahead and see what kind of results we get. In the meantime, we are here to do a reading for twin flames, twin souls, sacred partners, soulmates, whoever it is you're focused on, that is who we're talking about in this reading. And of course, I always like to throw in a lot of ascension stuff in there, so you're going to get that as well. Now, we're looking at the next week, which is June 30th through July 6th. And during that period of time, we do have a new moon in Gemini, and that happens on July 2nd. We also have four, and I say four, planets retrograde right now, which I don't know if it's good or bad. I know it was really, really hard on me yesterday. As I was doing all of this, I was dealing with a lot of stuff and a lot of issues were coming back up for me. So I'm sure that retrograde planets, for those of you who are more astrology oriented than I am, you're probably going to know what that means. But I know retrograde is usually intensity. So we also have Mercury retrograde coming up on July 7th, which is just past this reading, but we're in the shadow of it. So it means that the universe is going to be asking you to slow down just a bit as we prepare to go in to Mercury retro. And that's basically why a lot of times things break and everything, is it's trying to tell us to slow down, go inside, and let's figure out what we can improve or what we can expand on. All right, so what we're going to do first is we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a look at what the coming week is going to look like for you in general. All right, I'm going to be using several different decks of cards. I'm going to try to make this reading just a little bit more succinct and move along, but I have discovered something, and you can do this with any of my videos. If I'm going really slow, please just play me at double time. It works really well. It'll just move it right along. You get the information that you want, and you won't get bored. So, all right, so what we're going to do is we're going to use the Shamanic Healing deck. We're going to use the Power of Surrender by Judith Orloff, and we're also going to use the Ascended Master deck. All right, the Ascended Master deck is, I'm going to be using that just for a final card for an overall message. But we're going to look at what have we got to deal with in terms of healing, what have we got to let go of, and then those of you know that have seen my channel before, you're going to know that for my primary cards, I use the Nuance Intuit Oracle with Bonus Trio by Aria. And it is my favorite go-to deck at this point, so you're going to see a lot of it if this is your first time to my channel. Before we get started, if you do like what you see, please do put a like on the video. Take the time to do that. It would mean a lot to me. And if you really like it, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and that way if you do that, then you'll be notified. Press the little bell and you'll be notified when I put out a new reading. And I'm going to be doing some pretty interesting videos. So this is just getting started. I know I've been around for a while, but we've got some big changes coming. So anyways, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to give my my Intuit Oracle deck a little bit of a shuffle while we're doing this. And once I do that, let's go ahead and set that one aside. We're going to first take a look at the Shamanic Healing deck, because we're going to go ahead and we are going to find out what is the healing what are the things that we're going to be looking at healing? Well, I just had a couple of cards. Well, there's one that flew right out, right into our, oh my gosh. The two that jumped off the desk, I'm not even going to pursue those because the one that jumped out at me right now is the one that feels absolutely right. Let me go ahead and get those other two cards just to see what they are. But the main card right here, look at this. It looks like an eagle, okay? Eagle, which is interesting with those of us in the United States, being the 4th of July. We've got an eagle, and this actually looks like it's a red, white, and blue card, which is really, really interesting. And the card is truth. So I am going to sneak down here and find out what two other cards jumped out at me. All right, let's see what these are. We also had, oh my goodness, Debbie, get it straight. We have another red, white, and blue card. Struggle, I don't like that word, and abundance. You know what? I'm keeping them. So we've got 3 things that we're working on. You know what? That might be because of all the retrogrades we got going on. I'm keeping them because who wants to not deal with abundance? I'd like to learn that, wouldn't you? And we've got the truth card. We've got struggle. So it means we've got just a little bit of struggle that we're going to be working on. That may be some of the retrogrades coming to work on abundance and truth. So those are the first cards we're going to, I'm going to see. I think I'm going to have to set some of these cards aside and bring them back in later. I have got a setup so that I can show you the cards up close. And you know, you'll be able to see cards from another direction as well. So let's take these cards for now, and bear with me. This is the first time that I've done this particular setup. So I just decided I'm going to do the best I can because I think it's going to be fun and I think it's going to be interesting. All right, let's tidy up over here. All right. So the next card we're going to take a look at is what is it that we're trying to release? And oh my, do I have another kind of card stuck in here? No? Okay. All right, let's go ahead and see. This is the surrender deck. What is it that we are going to be surrendering? Try not to be too loud with the cards. I noticed that with my power microphone, we sometimes end up with like pounding and nails on the cards are really obnoxious. So I'm just gonna, all right. And it looks like we're about to flip a card, but come on, one card please, one card only. There it goes. There's 2. All right, so surrender what is and surrender resentments. I'm going to pull these main cards here. This is the flavor of the reading that we're going to be doing. All right, before we start getting into specific questions. So we're looking at, this is for the energy of this week. All right. Now, in working on our abundance, and I feel like abundance is actually the outcome of what we work on, that we're going to be struggling for what's our truth. There is going to be a little bit of a struggle. What is our truth? What is our truth? And that the outcome or the result of aligning with our truth, going past the struggle, and then moving into our truth is going to have some abundant, it's going to have some kind of an effect on that. Now, what are some of the things that we have to do? We have to surrender our resentments. Okay, so resenting, a lot of times when we resent, it means that we don't trust what is, okay? Now, we're also being asked to drop and surrender what is, to what is. All right, so we want to allow for what is. When we don't do that, interestingly enough, there can be a lot of resentment. And holding on to resentment really does poison you. So what this card is asking for the overall energies is for us to surrender our resentments, surrender the things that we resent. If we can try to come into, and I've talked about this before in the last couple readings about gratitude, if you can go into a place of gratitude of what this is affording you, it helps you to surrender your resentment. And a lot of that has to do with surrendering to what is. In other, whatever is sitting right there. is a gift for you. It's a gift for you to learn. It's something that will help you, in your struggles for truth. You're going to want to align to your highest truth. How do you do that? Is you end up surrendering to what is. All right? So this is the nature of what we're going to be talking about in this reading. And I'm going to go ahead and set these cards over here on the table behind me, and we can refer to them. But now what we're going to do is we're going to tune into some very specific questions with the Intuit Oracle. All right, so what does the coming week look like for you? And that is what we are going to answer right now. We know some of the things that we're going to be working with. What other information do we have in terms of the coming week? So go ahead and give these another couple of shuffles. And I think for this, I'm going to move this out to the side. I think I am just going to pull the cards from my little rainbow of cards right here. You have to do a little bit of shuffling around to make use of all the space so that we can make sure you've got the best view of the cards. All right, so what is the overall energies for this week? Oh, it looks like we could have a little bit of annoyance, which goes right along with struggle. All right, could be a little bit of struggle. But we also have the head of the pack, which is great. And that's the primary card. All right, so we've got a card here with the eagle, which is the unlimited potential of the situation. And I want to tie that back to the abundance card that we've set off to the side. So the most part of this week is going to be about finishing first. It's going to be about getting to the head of the pack. It's going to be about completing something that you've been trying to complete, doing some work to get ahead, and being very successful at that. Now that does mean that, with this card here, the yarn right next to it, that we could have a little bit of a struggle. And that struggle we've already seen in this card, right? We've got the struggle card. So, but, the flashes of insight that we're having, we're seeing the fact that there is unlimited potential to reach the head of the pack. So it's a very positive experience. And I want to say that, when this card is here, which is the abundance card, I want to say that this kind of goes together with the head of the pack, because success is abundance in all things, right? So you can be successful in not just monetary ways, but also other ways. Just know that there's a little bit of an annoyance that's going to be here. It's going to be your struggle, possibly for truth. Our inner truth is sometimes so hard to determine because we have so many programs that keep us from being able to discover the honest truth we feel about a situation. But that's where we get into surrendering other things. Now, I think what I'm going to do, we're going to go on to the next question. And I think what will work best for me, let me see here. I like to have my cards spread out like that. So I think I'm going to use the abundance space over here on my table to go ahead and spread out cards right here. All right, so I'm going to be able to tune into the cards that I need, pull them forward, and make them available for you to see. All right, so we've already looked at what our healing emphasis is going to be. We know what we need to surrender. We're going to look at what is the energy between you and your primary love interest this week. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's pull these cards. The first one we got is the Mask. We've got Saturn, Restriction. That's the main card we got here. And we've got some spiritual duty. Okay, so all right, let's tune into these cards right now. Go ahead and put these cards up. All right, so the main card that we have here is there is a little bit of restriction going on. Now, I'm thinking Saturn is in retrograde right now. So those of you who know more about astrology than I do, you can, kind of tune into the fact. But what I've always known about Saturn and the restriction card is that we're given very specific things that we need to deal with. In other words, we get kind of limited to what our possibilities are because we're kind of forced to work within this structure and make sure that we do everything right. So we're looking at a little bit of two-faced energy here. Pretending. Now maybe that means the person is pretending that they don't care. Maybe they're, trying to pull one over on you like, hey, everything's cool. I'm fine. I don't need you. They're pulling off this pretending act. Maybe you're doing a little bit of pretending because that's what ends up happening. We end up with, the mirror effect sometimes when we think that they're pretending, we could also be pretending. So that gets right down into the truth, right? So we have to understand that we might not be getting the truth right now. We might be only getting what they want us to see, or maybe we're only showing what we want them to see. But there is some restriction there. Okay, there's some boundaries. There is some duty and responsibility there. And right next to it, we've got the cross. Okay, so the cross, that's more about necessity. It's more about duty. It's more about, this is our destiny. This is where we're supposed to be. And there's a little bit of, I want to say programming to that because it's not as much of a free-spirited card than some of the other cards. It's a little bit more of duty. So there's a little bit of, gosh, maybe I'm not showing how I really feel because I have a certain duty to have appearances be this way. But you definitely have some structure. Maybe the person has commitments. Maybe you have commitments. It can flip-flop either way. But the question is, what is the energy going on between you? So this kind of leaves it open into interpretation as to whether you are this person or whether they are this person. So these readings are very general. It's a general reading. So you're probably going to know what that means more, of course, than I do. So all right, so that's the overall energy. I'm going to go ahead and move these cards up here. And let's see. Okay, so now we're going to find out how is your love interest feeling about you right now. All right, this is how they're actually feeling about you. And let's go ahead and pull some cards. Okay. Interesting. Okay, well, this is interesting energy. The primary energy that I'm reading off of this card, I'm going to start right with the church, which is the center card. Okay, so we've got the church, we have the Wolverine, and we have the mountain. All right, so now we're going to take a closer look. Okay. So the question is, how is your love interest feeling about you right now? Well, there's probably, depending upon the relationship that you have, if this person is your family member, in other words, this is your marital relationship that you're looking at right now, they are, very focused on the marriage. Most of the people who are looking at these readings are people that are, I've had catalytic heart awakening, so it's not usually the person that you're in a committed relationship with, but that doesn't mean that that is in every case. This reading, again, is a general reading. So the person, how they're viewing you right now, how they're looking at you depends on the relationship you have in relationship to that church. Now, if you are someone that is outside of that structure, of that programming, they can be feeling a lot of things about, like, this is where the mountain comes in. Okay, the mountain is an obstacle, a problem, okay, a block, something that gets in their way. And so I hate to say this, but if this person is in a committed relationship with someone else, how they feel about you becomes an obstacle to them in this traditional programming. Now, that does not mean that there aren't feelings there or that they don't have the feelings. It's just saying that this particular week, and look at, we've got the mask, right? So it sounds to me from where we're going with this reading, this person might have to do some pretending, because if they're focused on their primary committed relationship, their obligatory relationship, one that might not be you, and if that's you, then you can read these cards differently. That's what's beautiful about these cards. This is what I love about the Intuit Oracle, is you can look at all of these cards. You can read these words for yourself, and you can actually come up with your own interpretation right here in this reading. So please do that. If what I'm saying doesn't resonate with you, you might be able to find other things in there. All right. Now, the Wolverine is this person probably feeling a bit like, I want to say, powerful and more fierce about their situation. I don't know if it is they're trying to stay in the power of this traditional situation a lot, if they're feeling, if they're obviously they're having some power struggles. Now, I don't know if that's a power struggle with you or if it's a power struggle with their relationship that they're currently in, if they have a current partner, if it's just a situation. I mean, I know some twins that are involved with actual religious figures, right? So in that case, we're talking the church. They're having this fierce energy, this in-your-face energy about their belief systems, about their religion. And you could be seen as just a little bit of an obstacle to that, because you can imagine if someone's feeling they want one thing, but they're being forced to do something else, or their soul is telling them they're supposed to do something else, that can be kind of a problem. So how they're feeling is a little bit like, Ikes, I don't know what to do, all right? But they are trying to focus on this traditional programming. All right, so the next question is, what does your love interest need from you right now? So we're going to go back over here to the cards, and I'm going to pull this card right here. All right, interesting. We got a double rainbow. I'm just sort of going to set these cards off to the side. So we have, all right, so we've got a double rainbow. And this question again is, what does your love interest need from you right now? Okay, interesting. Okay, all right, so we have some cards here. We have the beaver. The beaver is the central card. So what do they need you to do? All right, let's look. We've got the double rainbow. We've also got the letter. Okay, so whatever it is that they're going through, what they need you to do is just be consistent in your persistence to move forward in your progress, okay? You need to be determined to do what is best for your spiritual growth, and you try not to allow yourself to be swayed by what energy they're having to deal with. That's what they need from you right now, okay? They need you to make your dreams real. They need you to focus on you. They need you to know that everything is in perfect timing. And that's what the double rainbow usually says, okay? So we've got the double rainbow, all right? And we also have the beaver and the letter combined. And yeah, the primary emphasis is stay the course when it comes to your own growth, your own creating your own reality that you prefer, because they're busy off maybe being a little bit distracted in another realm. But when you keep your energy aligned with your highest outcome, and it automatically makes it their highest outcome. So there's perfect timing in everything. They want you to know that. They want you to know that you need to keep making your dreams real. Be determined against things that are working against you. Don't allow it to knock you off center. That's what they need from you right now, because your energies and how you stay in your energies is going to buoy them up. Now, it's interesting. You also have the letter. So what do they need from you? It kind of is, it begs the question, do they need you to communicate with them? Do they need to hear from you from an email, do they need information from you? Do they need news from you? It does seem in the question that we've just asked, what do they need from you right now? Some of you, and you will know who you are, may need to just reach out. Hey, I'm here. I'm your friend. I care about you. You'll know if that's you. You have to go into your own knowing, because this is not for everyone. But if you know that in your heart, you've been keeping yourself out of the, out of communications, almost like, I always say this, it's like a control thing. If you've been keeping yourself apart from them, then, maybe they do need you to reach out and let them know that you're doing great, that you're making your dreams come true, that you are feeling that everything was in perfect timing and things of that nature. So that's what they, I'm seeing if I get anything else. Okay, now that's pretty much what I'm getting. I'm going to go ahead. I'd like to make room for another question. So we're going to just go ahead and move these cards off to the side. We've got these 3 cards, and now we're going to move these 3 cards over here. All right. So the next question that we're going to ask is, what should you be focusing on? This is what you should be focusing on. Hang on just a minute, because I'm going to go ahead and smooth these cards out. It's easier for me to pull them when they're smooth like that. All right. So what should you be focusing on? This is the question. What should you focus on this week? Okay. Got a light bulb. We have a lily. Lily. And we have a lighthouse. All right, let's move these way out of the way so we can just deal with these cards. Okay. So what should you focus on that's going to be helpful to your connection? Okay. Definitely your development. Definitely the lily is the card in the center, okay? The lily is all about your development and your experience, okay? It's funny, it's an achievement card, which takes us over here to the head of the pack, the successful completion of things, competition, finishing first, being persistent. It's interesting, we've got 2 persistent cards in here. So this is about being persistent. It is about achieving your highest good. And it's standing in your spiritual maturity. It is tuning into the energies and allowing yourself to do what is best for you with context to your whole entire life, the development of everything that you're trying to accomplish. And it does take into account what you've already established, and a certain level of, there's a sexuality that does go along with this card, because when we step into that raw energy, that powerful knowing, we can get in tune with that energy, that something that we've got inside of us that is completion in terms of our sexuality, when we're sitting in that more mature, I want to say goddess energy. Now the question again is, what should you focus on? Well, the word that jumps out at me in the light bulb card is enlightenment, okay? Discovery. That you're actually looking for things, and you're looking actively to make some progress, that when you do that, you probably will end up with an aha moment. Things will be revealed to you, that you'll have some realizations that you might not have known that you were going to have. Now, we do have a lighthouse here. All right. Now this is in question 2. What should you focus on for the benefit of your connection? What this card is saying, the lighthouse says warning, danger, okay, like red alert, but not the way you think. It's not like, look out, something huge is going to happen. That's horrible. It's not necessarily about that. If you think about the lighthouse lights up so that it can illuminate that there's a piece of land that if the sailors or the boatsmen aren't really aware of, that they could hit. That's one way. And then the other thing is as a beaconing light to kind of guide you towards where you're going, right? So yes, there is some warning and danger. You want to make sure you don't hit that rock, right? But it's really for here is make sure that you remember to use tact and diplomacy, okay? Yes, we want to align with our truth. Yes, we want to move through any struggles that we're having to get to that truth, but we want to be sure that we do that in such a way that is with tact, with kind of a diplomacy. And if you don't feel like you can do that, then you probably want to sidestep the situation. You don't want to do this while we're sitting here with a lot of retrogrades. Okay, so you want to be careful about that. It's just a little bit of a cautioning. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm getting on that. Not really. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put these cards up here. All right. Last but not least, actually, we're looking at something else. Okay, all right. We are going to find out what is your love interest dealing with this week. We know what you're kind of dealing with. Let's find out what they're dealing with. What are they dealing with? We know that they're dealing a little bit with their dogma. Okay, hang on a second. What are they dealing with? All right. So more than likely, your sacred partner is going to be dealing with a lot of communication. Okay. They might be very, very much in need from a very important friend. So they might be completely engrossed in, and you want to know what it is for those of us that are in the States. It is a 4th of July holiday. And so it's possible that this person is going to be a little bit more social than normal. They're going to be out there. They're going to be hanging out with some of their close friends. People that they're in the anchor, these are the people that they feel, have helped get them through the rough times and stuff. They're the solid, enduring friends. I don't know if some of them will be taking trips back home to see friends. So it does seem that they are going to have a week that's going to be about them. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. I think this week is a week that is about them. There are other ways to read these cards. If they are, someone that you are in a lot of connection with, this might be you. They might be communicating with you more than they ever have. For a long time anyways. Very, very social. You could be, if you're in one of those connections where you are a super, super close friends, this may mean that this is a period of time this week for you to experience that extra close bonding, being each other's supportive friends. One maybe supporting the other more than others. You might have a tremendous amount of communication. If you are not in communication, chances are this is a week that they'll be hanging out with old friends, and they'll be kind of maybe, the cards that we asked before with how is your love interest feeling about you right now? Right there, that seems to be for those who are in connection with partners that you're maybe not in communication with as much. And this might be why you're not in communication right now. This particular set of cards that I'm getting right now is, again, can be read in different ways depending upon what kind of connection you have. That's the problem when you have very, general readings. So those of you who have been in connection may find yourself in more communication than ever. All right, so that's those cards. So the last card that we are going to ask about, the cards are going to be, what does your higher self want you to know for the coming week? This is just in general. All right, so we've got a magnet. Ooh, we have the balance card. And we have the woman. Whenever the woman comes up in a reading, or when a person comes up in a reading, it's always about you. Whether you're a man, woman, doesn't matter. It's you, all right? So what does your higher self want you to know? And I'm going to make sure that you can see these cards, okay? In fact, we're going to just sort of, we can spread these cards out and we can see more, but these are like the focal cards right now. And I have really, really good energy off these cards right now. This is your higher self and a message to you. Okay. During this period this week, you're going to want to really, really focus on remaining centered and balanced. It really is the answer to everything. That is you being centered and balanced. And if that means meditating, or if it means getting out in nature, whatever it means, focusing on those, the centeredness and the balance is going to totally make the other things that you're dealing with so much easier, okay? You may have a longing desire for this person that you feel, and that has been something that I've been hearing from a lot of people. There has been a longing, there has been that magnetic energy that you're feeling, and there has to be a way to balance that feeling, that energy with the I want to reach back up here to the thing that you're working on this week, which is for the best for everything, which is your development. So we've got this keeping your heart open to the person while still staying in your center. And that is a very, very tricky balance, but you can do it. That's the balance that you're trying to create right now. This is your well-being, okay? This is your well-being. And even though you've got this magnetic desire, you've got this this feeling for this person, it's almost as if you can just keep your awareness and know that staying centered in your energies is one of the most important things that you can do. And that's really a very big message from higher self for all the time, not just this week. The center, and that may mean, really carving out some time. You might want to carve out some time for that energy, meditation, or whatever. So I'm going to try right now to kind of summarize. And that means that I am going to, this is just a very interesting way to do this. So just bear with me because I haven't, let's see here. I've got to figure out which cards go together. And let's see, I know these kind went together. The aha moment, oh my goodness. All right, I pulled this out of here, didn't I? Yeah, all right. Bear with me. This is new for me. All right. Because what I want to do is I want to take a look at all of these cards in relation with the overall cards and see what messages come up, if any. We're going to go ahead and pull our, the best way to do this is to, let me see here, see if I can stick these over here. At least we know what these three cards are that we're working on in terms of releasing. And then we can put these two cards over here, which is what we're surrendering. All right, so this is interesting. This is going to be fun for me. And a lot of times, well, I hope it's fun for you too. I don't want this to be just about me. But a A lot of times what I have found is I tune into the energies as I'm playing with the cards. So I'm really trying to take the time to do that. All right. So very quiet. So we're definitely in the process of aligning with our truth. And the truth sometimes is going to be tricky because we don't always want people to know what we're thinking and what we're feeling. And we don't always get what the other person is thinking or feeling. But what we have to try to do is ferret out the truth. All right. And the universe does, in terms of Saturn restriction, it really does set up a structure for you to move more towards your truth. Okay. Now, we do have struggles throughout this process. Okay. We have, annoyance. We have some obstacles. Those are the big ones that I see here in this reading. We have to sometimes be very careful of how we say things. We can be dealing with some annoying and complicated situations when it comes to truth. And we can deal with people who aren't as honest, and sometimes we're not honest with ourselves, so we're wearing a mask. But all of this struggle, which is sometimes put on us by something like Saturn restriction, really does lead us to stay in our truth. And when we're in our truth, we really do find all kinds of abundance in all of the really good things. It's not always just money. It's abundance of love. It's abundance of support. It's abundance of, opportunities. That's abundance. Okay. So during this period, this week, we might be feeling a little bit of resentment. Okay. Let's say that you're in one of those situations where your partner, your sacred partner, or your connection is, wrapped up with family and old friends and visiting and things of that nature. You might be a little resentful. It's like, well, geez, how come I'm not able to do that? That's a possibility. Maybe you resent the fact that, just trying to think of what other resentments might be there. Maybe you resent the fact that they're still working through their duties and their responsibilities. You might have some resentments about that. What you're being asked to do is to surrender to what is right now. Right? Whatever is going on right now is what you need to surrender to. And then that obstacle will start melting. I do believe that if you are not surrendered to what is, the other person, if you're connected like that, is going to feel that. And you will feel like an obstacle to them. They'll feel that pull, and it won't be a good feeling. So that's where some of the power struggles can come in. So if you surrender to what is, it is just so much more, it's letting go of the struggle, because the struggle will, invariably when you let go of the things that you hang on to, what you're left with is your own truth. And the answer that you've got this week is to really spend time centering and balancing. Okay? You want to center and balance whatever feelings that you might be having, that yearning for the person or whatever, that's where you need to surrender to what is. It's okay that you're having those feelings. There's nothing wrong with that. That is perfectly okay. So the last thing that I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and pull an Ascended Master card and see if we get one main card or message from any of the many us's on the other side. The masters, the energy of the masters, the energy of those beings that are a little bit further along than we are in the time continuum. There are future selves, and see if there's anything that they want us to know as the overall arching message. It's so funny. I used to do this, and I'm one of those people that does like to hang on really tightly And Katumi used to always say, let go. I could hear him saying, let go so I can help pop a card. All right, we've got 2 cards that came out for this reading. Number 1 is the power of joy, and number 2 is priorities. And I'm going to take both cards because I think both of these cards are extremely important in this reading, okay? When we have struggle and, when we have issues where we might not be aligned with our truth, or we're dealing with people that aren't maybe dealing with their truth, the most important thing, and this is why we want to do the balancing and centering, is the more you can be in a positive place of joy. And I do tend to think of joy as you get a lot of joy when you move into the space of gratitude. And I always talk about gratitude as being something that is probably the closest experience you can have to that real, genuine love, unconditional love is in gratitude. And it also creates a lot of joy. So that is where the centerness comes from in all of this coming week, and that making that your priority. Okay, so King Solomon and Maitreya, they come here to deliver a message to you. 2 powerful cards saying the power of joy cannot be understated. It is the priority of this coming week. It is the answer to going through any of the restrictions. It is the answer to surrendering to what is, to letting go of the resentments that we have. Go into that place of joy, go into that place of gratitude, and remember that is your priority, because that priority is what is literally going to shift everything so that you're better able to create your reality. Thank you so much for joining me today and my reading. I really hope that it was of value to you. Coming up in September, we have a Twin Flame and Ascension workshop in Niagara Falls that's being held by Marla Kelly, hosted by Marla, and I've been asked to facilitate, so I'm really, really stoked about that. Also there will be Rob and Angie, who were with me in Banff, and my sister, Kalina Malnar, who I don't know if you guys know or not, but we had a radio show together for a while there, and I am really looking forward to doing another workshop with Kalina. So anyways, thank you so much again. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And also, if you haven't done so, please think about subscribing to my channel. And if you really'd like to see some more readings like this down your thread, go ahead and press that notification bell so that you don't miss a thing. All right, until next time. And by the way, I am going to be getting out my zodiac readings this first week of July. So, for your sun sign, your ascendant, your moon, or your twin, your loved ones, your family. I hope you'll join me for those readings as well. So anyways, thank you so much. I appreciate your friendship and your continued viewership. Namaste.